I'm a 16-year-old male and I go to Ephraim, Utah every summer to do drum corps, and it usually lasts all summer. If you're not familiar with drum corps, in short it's basically professional marching band. We stayed on a college campus and had free days every Sunday to get to know the people in the corps and just relax for a day before we had to go rehearse the next week. This took place last summer. This particular Sunday night, my section wanted to go stargazing since there's really nothing else to do in the middle of nowhere in Utah. People recommended we go to the softball field that was a little walk away from where we were staying. We all agreed to go there that night and planned on being there around 9:30 p.m. However, me and someone else from my room volunteered to go get snacks, since we were planning on being there for a few hours. We started walking to the nearest gas station to get some chips and soda for the rest of the group. About halfway there, we noticed a strange white truck with its lights on parked right next to the sidewalk. It was too dark to see the driver, but we thought nothing of it even if it was a bit unusual at this hour. We got the chips and sodas and began to head to the softball field. It was quite a walk from the gas station, so we were prepared to be walking for at least 15 minutes. When we were not even halfway there, we saw the same truck again, only this time it was parked on the opposite side of the street with its lights still on. It was about then we started to get a little suspicious it was following us. We started to pick up the pace. We walked for a while and turned around to look to see if he was still following us, but he was nowhere to be seen. Then we started laughing at ourselves for being so worried when it was probably nothing. We were about halfway there when we were about to pass a bell tower right next to a parking lot. It was then we saw the headlights again, but this time he was driving pretty fast towards the sidewalk. Me and my friend didn't really know what to do, so we kinda just stared at it until it actually drove onto the sidewalk and nearly hit the bell tower. At this point, we started sprinting, but the truck was not far behind. We took a shortcut to another side of the sidewalk, one we were sure the truck couldn't get to. We ran the rest of the way back to the softball field without even looking back. When we got there, we told the other people in our section and they told the staff the next morning, but nothing was really done about it since the only proof of the truck on the sidewalk were tire marks. I still don't know what he wanted from us or if I was just overreacting. But either way, it kind of spooked me. I didn't see that white truck ever again, and I hope I never have to. Not me, but my father told me last week about a couple years ago when he was driving a road train in Queensland, Australia. It was him and 3 other road trains, I think, and he was second in line. Some guy tried to overtake all of them before the overtaking lane ended. This lane isn't very long, about 1 kilometer, and they are few and far between along this road. Now this guy had run out of room by the time he had gotten to the truck at the front, and so he went off the road and rolled his car. The trucks all stopped and my father got out and ran towards the car, which was now on fire. The first truck driver was much closer to the car than my father was, due to these trucks being a good 100 meters long. When Dad got there, the truck driver just had his hands in the air as if to say, "Fuck this, nope, I can't handle this." What he had seen was the man, still conscious, flailing about in the car, burning alive. Dad didn't want to see something so horrid, so he didn't even look, but he was still haunted by the fact a man was alive 1 minute ago, driving past him, but was now in the burning car he saw ahead. The truck driver is still basically a basket case today, from what I've heard. He still can't get over it, and feels terrible, but it's definitely not his fault. Driving back from the road trip, someone tried overtaking my father again on that same stretch of road, not 2 kilometers away from the night before. There were police up ahead, and the guy was up to about 200 kilometers just to get ahead of Dad before the lane ended. so he slams on the brakes just before he can get seen by the coppers, and Dad says he barely braked in time to not send him flying ahead, due to road trains having a much harder time braking than a car does. They get pulled over, and my dad abused the fuck out of this guy because he was still upset about the night before, and he sure as hell didn't want to see that shit again. The guy acted like he had no idea what he did. I have never seen my dad afraid, but I could see in his eyes how scared he was when he told me this. That moment terrified him so much. The fact that he could have been the guy who had taken another man's life so quickly. I hope that people can understand that trucks, especially road trains, don't have the same capabilities as cars. You should know how to act around them and know how they work. Mid-90s, I went on a road trip with my son and for some stupid reason decided to take a different route home than the one I had taken previously and was familiar with. Turned out the new route was a super desolate road. I specifically chose to drive in the middle of the night so my son would be sleeping and there'd be less traffic. It's probably 3 a.m. And of course my car breaks down. By some luck of the draw, I'm almost right in front of an abandoned roadside market and was able to coast into the parking lot. The windows are all boarded up on the market, steam is pouring out from under my hood, and it was essentially the start to every single dumb chick breaks down in the middle of nowhere and gets hacked to death movie you've ever seen. All of a sudden I see headlights coming around the bend. I'd been driving on this road for a couple hours and had seen maybe 2 other vehicles the whole time. A truck drives past, slows down, then I see the reverse lights come on in my rear view mirror. The truck pulls up so our vehicles are driver window to driver window, and I see the driver is an older man. He's just staring at me. He looks like the stereotypical serial killer you visualize: long, scraggly gray hair, grizzled stubble, sorta crazy eyes. He motions for me to roll down my window. I'm just trying to look anywhere but directly at him and acting like I don't see him and everything's fine. He backs up a little, parks, gets out of his truck and starts walking towards my car. I'm thinking this is where my son and I end up a news story about bodies being found in the boonies when the snow melts, and he starts yelling, "I'm not going to hurt you. Roll down your window." I keep looking anywhere but at him while trying to give off strong, "you don't want to fuck with me" vibes. In reality, I'm about shitting my pants. He gives me a disgusted look, walks to his truck and starts digging around. He comes walking back with tools in his hands, and now I'm thinking, OMG, he's got tools, he's gonna kill me, bust out my teeth and cut my fingers off so I can't be identified. He yells, "Open the hood." I'm looking everywhere but at him. "Open the hood. Let me see what's wrong." He's pissed. I'm scared shitless. But I reach down and pop the hood. He opens it and I crouch down so I can see him through the couple of inches where the hood is open. He looks up and we make eye contact and I about die. He looks down and keeps doing whatever he's doing. He goes back and forth between his truck and my car a couple more times, bringing more tools, some jug of something and other things I can't make out. After about 15 minutes he closes my hood and yells at me to start it up. My car sputters a little, turns over, and then seems fine. He yells, "Be careful. There are lots of weirdos out here." Gets in his truck, gives me one last disgusted look and drives off. My car made it home. My dad looked it over after I told him the story and deducted the guy had changed the radiator hose. My dad pointed out many times that the chances of me being struck by lightning were probably better than my chances of some random guy in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night happened to be driving around with a radiator hose and the tools to replace it for whatever 10-plus-year-old POS foreign car I'd been driving was.